everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And today we're taking a look at Jam Republic's unaired underdog battles. Now, I've been watching a lot of these battles prior to this one for me reacting to, and I've noticed that sometimes we end up coming across the same battles that I feel like I've already did an entire battle reaction to. So if I do come across that in this clip, I will try to attach in the description of this video my actual battle analysis, because I feel like that may be a little bit better to observe than me trying to reanalyze it here, unless there's something that I missed in the previous that I want to touch on here. So that's just my little disclaimer. Great news though is the fact that we get to see all the ones that didn't make it on the show, aside from the ones that we did see. Downside is we don't get to see the battle, like in the battle context, we just get to see it as a group. But what's really cool in that is I get a chance to look at the crew as a whole and kind of see like what they're in general, what I'm noticing, what fingerprints I notice with them, what makes them kind of mesh well together as a crew, probably through how they battle, but also it makes me kind of just make some deductions on how the crew I feel did within this particular section of the show. So let's go ahead and get started.
Jam Republic, Justin, let's go.
Okay, so this looks like the very first battle that happened between Waxy and Kirsten. So I do remember I did a whole battle analysis between these two, so I will leave that in this description here. I will say I love Kirsten's movement quality. It is really hard to hit that pocket, but also notice she's making some really interesting choices in how she's riding out those grooves. Like, she's not just hitting the groove in one spot. She's hitting it and then she's creating a little shift in her weight that makes it look more enhanced, and it still hits that sound, but she's making it like grimier within the groove, enhancing it, creating more dynamic in it outside of just doing the groove. Cookie cutter in the technical foundation of how you normally do the groove, if that makes sense. She made it look like her own, like she's making that choice to hit it, not I'm hitting this groove because this is the style I do, if that makes sense. So it feels like she's in more control of the style that she's taking. But yeah, I mean, I think that was probably one of her stronger sets out of everything that she did. And I will touch on this. I have already seen this too, because it's between Yoonji and her as well. Yeah. I like how she hit an accent, so it kind of felt like a continuation. I will say she's repeating some textures and how she holds her posture over. I know she's not a heavy battler just in comparison to her opponents. Like, here's the thing. Out of everybody, she got the toughest opponents in the freestyle world, and she came out with a win with at least one of them, which is mighty, mighty impressive. But you can tell, though, that she's hitting it, and she's making different choices with it, but you do have to be mindful because she repeated similar groove patterns or similar texture patterns or similar techniques, and because of the music, there's a good chance that this music may have worked against her too, because it was similar, even though it was faster in BPM. It had some similar nuances that we've already seen from her, so I feel that even though it's in her wheelhouse, it is really hard to be dynamically different when you're used to a particular aesthetic or genre of style, if that makes sense. So that's why it's like, when the more you train in different songs, the more fluent you will be, even as a choreographer as well as a freestyler. So that's my in general note. I think I made that video is also up. I will attach that in the description in this video too. Oh, that's right. So they... Oh, so this was where she danced again with Waxy, and I think that she made some really good choices. What she did there was similar to her first rematch with Waxy that actually got her the win, because she changed her posture. But noticing, I know this is really fun, really big risks that she made. She used the stairs. I will say that this helped her because it made a lot of her movement different, obviously because she had the uses of a prop, so it gave her more options to enhance it. So that helped her. Do I still believe that there should have been a rematch from this? No, because she did, like she said, that walk was a little too two-dimensional. She did hit some fundamental sequences of those salsa steps, which she carried. Her essence is out of this world. Her performance quality is phenomenal. Please don't get me wrong with that. But in comparison to, I remember what Waxy did in her first set, and what Waxy did was pretty crazy. Now, I know their rematch was insane. All of that is released, so I will attach this one as well to this. So, I mean, she held her own every time. You know what I'm saying? She really did. Now, this one, oh, bless. This one was so good. Unfortunately, not in Ling's favor. Sarah decimated in this battle. I really feel like we got to see a lot of Jam Republic, I think, except for a couple of them. I already touched on this one too. Hers is very simplistic. Out of everybody that I've seen from Jam, hers is, it looks like she has the least amount of experience out of everyone. I feel like this right here is just very disconnected. I do feel, because of how Kirsten and Audrey held themselves in their battles, I'm assuming, I'm going to be honest, I feel that people were a little bit kinder to Ling than I feel like they would have been if she was from a different crew. Like if she was from Deep and Dop, or from, or if she was from One Mill. Like they are known as choreography crews, right? So, and I feel like, or Lady Bounce, right? If she was from one of those crews, I really feel like they wouldn't look at what she did with as much grace. Does that make sense? Because I really feel that much. Now, does that mean she's a terrible dancer? Absolutely not. I really feel she can hold her own choreographically, no problem. Do I feel like she can hold her own in freestyle? No, I do not. I feel like that is a highly neglected field and area for hers, but you guys have already told me this was like one of the first times she's ever battled, and of course she picked somebody as intense as Sarah, bless it, So I know that this was probably a losing fight going in, and I feel like she knew that. She did her best. Do I feel like she has major room for improvement? Absolutely. But check out my full battle analysis on that. Now, this is the first time I'm seeing Latrice freestyle. Let's see this. Who's she against? I don't know who she's against. Okay, so she has really great Afro influence and nuance to her movement, which really helped her here. But if you notice, that was nice. But if you notice her movement though, it's still simple. Like this is really difficult to do. That's crazy. Yeah, she's hitting things very simple, and what really helped her is to groove and how she chooses to groove. So I would say, going back to Latrice, I feel like out of everything that we've seen so far, this is the first like truly new unaired one. I feel like everything else has been aired. So I've already seen Miss Ling. Okay, so Latrice, let's take a look. This is another case of, is her freestyle simple? Yes. She has great essence, but she's not coming across as like looking down upon, right? And I think that's been one of Jam's strengths this entire show so far, is they're not coming across as holier than thou, at least in front of the cameras. I'm hopeful that what we're seeing is more of the truth here. I feel that that's helped them here. Like that walk right there, that is filthy what she did right there. But is it like it's a typical pattern of how you would do that, right? It's different than how Kirsten did it in her set, right? So she's hitting a lot of things that are very similar. She's hitting her rocks and bounces like a lot of other people, but the reason why it doesn't look as cookie cutter as what the other dancers we've been seeing are is because she has these little pockets in how she uses her hips that are so different than those other dancers, right? And that's kind of going back to, do I feel like this is a strong thing from her? I think she held her own for sure. This was interesting going into the split coming up and down, but notice that she's dipping and she's doing it multiple times, writing out the music, but not doing it in such a way that is that I feel like would be, you just gotta know your opponent. For me, if I feel like if she got a truly difficult opponent, I don't think this would have been strong enough. I don't know. I have already reacted to her set. I have forgotten who she's with. Maybe with Subakil, it looks like, right? But I'm not 100%. But I feel that this is not. She's filling up a lot of time with walks or just power over something, versus she's not really showcasing enough power to justify that, I think is my note here. That was nice. She was able to do that kind of motion, but I think she held on to it a little too long. She could have varied it up. You know, she's hitting that single count sequence here. She hit it in a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's turning into a choreography pocket. Hit, and it just looks like a setup for choreography. So that would be my biggest complaint with her set, is it just reminds me of setting up for choreography, or a freestyle that sets up in kicks. You know, and that's not what freestyle should feel. It should be like, how did they make that pattern work and why is it clean? Like, it's like a brain buster almost. I know there's choreography that is like that, of course, but I'm saying in freestyle, there's just certain sequences of patterns that normally choreographically you don't think through a lot of times, unless this is a big background for you. It's like, that's just real talk for me. Okay, here we go. Emma. I've not seen Emma go yet. Let's see what she's gonna do. Got that old school bounce and rock. Hey, that was fun. So she has a really heavy crop nuance about this. That is so powerful. She's very powerful. So she's doing a lot of repeating. Do I feel Lady Bounce to be a little bit more just kind of staying in her place? It's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I love the wordplay there. So I'm going to be honest, I don't think this is the first time I think I have personally ever seen a Crump choreograph pocket. Let me explain. So what I mean by this is kind of how it sounds. I've been saying this a lot more frequently watching these groups of battles. Just whenever you see, like, she has a crump, her jabs, her steps, her stomps, her throws are so, they're crump, right? But her patterns in which she chooses to do it are choreographic patterns that I would see crump when it was choreographed. Those are the kind of patterns that I see here. And I just think that's so interesting. And she also chose to do that to a hip hop beat. Like, it's not a crump beat. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, a crump's beat is way more, it's got a heavier bass to it. It's more raw and aggressive in the back. So I think it's cool that she made that choice. That's fun. She goes da 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 da. Then she does chill. But then look, she does it again. Then she does something chill again. But then it goes into, and it does wordplay there. Then she hits it again for the third time. Do I think she should have made a different choice? Yes. I like the usage of the prop. That does help. And it also actually helps make it clear what she's doing with her arms because she's fully covered. And then she's hitting right there is when she starts integrating more of that crump posture. And that really helped her here. Yeah, that little like that was filthy with that little two hits up in the chest. Yeah, but also know that she's like she's doing loud movement and then she goes soft. Then loud movement and then soft. Like, there's no ebb and flow. Like, it is like a straight heartbeat, but it's not the kind of heartbeat that is the same as what I've mentioned before, where you want to bring it to life, but it looks too structured for this particular type of set that you want to come across. So I do feel like she could have, she has a lot of loud movement, so she is taking the breaks, which is great, and that's what you need. That was good, just kind of bleeding it down. I love the tension that she's causing into this, hit, then she does something chill. So I feel like she's hitting that pattern of texture shifts or dynamic shifts too often. I think she should, instead of going super small and subtle, she needs to go more strong, and then melt out of it, but still making it extroverted. Do you know what I'm saying? Or she can go really small and then kind of build it and it is something bigger, you know? So having more decrescendos and crescendos outside of going from really loud to really soft movement. I feel like we could have done more there. But I really like her choices that she's making. You know, that's another example. Loud, throws and jabs into something really small. Then she grabs something small there. Then from there, that's my first crescendo moment we noticed. So that was really cool, and I love that because small, medium, big. And then she keeps it big, settles it out. So I think like she kind of got there near the tail end of her freestyle. All in all, though, that was, I mean, out of who we've seen, out of the new ones I've seen, I really liked what she did. Here we go. Okay. We've already seen Audrey a couple of times, but that was the cut version. So I may talk about some things, but I mentioned most of them already. So that was really nice with that kind of hinge. I like that. She really utilizes, I like the connections that she has here. Yeah. That was really cute. Wow. I will say she's hitting that kind of posture with the arch of the back a little too much. She's also threading or creating those geometric shapes. That was nice. That was nice. We could talk about this one a little bit. Okay, so going back, this fold down, we've seen that. Looking at her, that was great. I love that boom drop. That was super nice. That here into that peel out, I love the little connections that she makes in her stuff. Low, 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 low. And her performance really helps in this too. Yeah, just know though that she is doing a lot of threading from the elbow. Sometimes she kind of hits here too. So I would just kind of recommend when you do thread, maybe think about different threading patterns. Could really help enhance that a little bit more. I love that little throw. And she's letting go. Like, it looks like her. And I really like that. That was really cute. And then she keeps going. So she does her forward roll. And then as she comes up, she finishes it out. Like, it really looks, yeah, you notice there that she's still using the thread through the elbow when I think she could make different joint choices. And also, too, notice whenever she's hitting, she is arching the back, which is totally fine. But when she's choosing this bevel posture a lot, too, you know. And I think it's like right there, this right here, going for something strong, and then she just melts into something, ooh, like this right here. I love that. That's probably one of my favorite things I think she did. And then she kind of just says, let that timer go out. That was really good from her. I love that. I love the fact that I got to see that. I wish they included that into the main thing. Have I seen this one? I don't know. No, I don't think. Oh, no, I have. So, this is her battle against Vessi. I already said in the battle, gosh, I wish she did a shoulder stand here. Do I feel like she's a little more sporadic this time? Yeah, I think so. What does she do after this? That was a nice little moment too. I think she's making two similar nuances in her. I think she's making two similar nuances in her hands that I feel like she could. I feel like we saw most of that set the first time. I mean, I could talk about it briefly. That right there, I mean, I was very clear on how I felt about that. I do feel like out of the two, I loved her first one a lot more. I felt like she was in more control over her choices. Here, I felt like she was just trying to like get in her face a little bit more, but also know, you know, she's making good choices here, but they are very similar to what we've already seen from her first battle. You know, this was nice. The drape around was fun. Her connections are really good. I will say that. Down. You know, and then she bleeds out and she pulls. So she's making good choices. They're leaning more into the predictable phase, you know. And that was a fun little ending for her there. So I would say all in all, I mean, Audrey held her own in both her battles. I preferred the first one I saw over the second one for sure. We're going again. Here we go. I don't know if I've seen this one.
Audrey. Yeah.
Okay, so she does a good job being really strong and nimble, but in control of it. But no, though, I think she's running out of ideas. That was nice, but also that's not something that she regularly worked on. Yeah, I feel like we've seen... That was really nice, kind of a Toy Man variation. But she's hit a lot of those. First time she's done that. Yeah, that was nice into the triggering, puppeting here. But you can really sense her lack of battle practice. Like, I think, like, I would say by the end of round 2, she was pretty tapped down on creativity. I will say there's a couple things here that were nice, but were they enough for it to be as captivating as her first? I don't believe so. I think there was some good moments, but how she set it up was very predictable. She melts into it with this grimy pocket, with these ticks and these pops, which I really like, with these more of these claw-esque femme arms, which I really like. But notice though, and I would say some scarecrow puppeting aesthetic too, but just know that, like, we have to be mindful that there is one thing to be able, like, she has a wonderful presence and usage of the core here to really get her power all the way through this, which I love. I love that sequence. That was so nice. You know, but then it goes into something like she keeps it there, but it is more of a simple choice she makes after it, you know? And there, I'm going to tell you this right now, out of personal experience. This right here, as she goes, she hits the first one. Second one, she loses her balance and she brings it to the front. Because you notice she wanted to stop it right there, but she loses it, hinges full, where she catches herself. But that's something that she's making it work with what she has. So I want to give her that. This was really nice. So it was utilizing her flexibility. I don't think she's done that in a freestyle exploration context. I think she's done this in choreography in some way, or a skill that she's practiced. So I think her putting it in here shows her risk, but also know her going in and out of it are very simplistic and not as fluent as that move itself. So I want you to notice that. So this was nice that she's, you know, keeping eye contact, but it's not like too much eye contact, you know. She's living in her vibe. She's vibing it out. Love that Toy Man here, but I feel like she is reversed like Toy Man. She doesn't bleed out 100% of the way through the technique. I wish she did. You know, she's hitting this. That was nice, and I love what she does after. That right there, bleeding it through, but I wish she traveled it more. She stopped it at the knees. She didn't really bring it up through the body, and I feel like that was a good opportunity to do that. You know, it just feels like she's trying to get through, but she's doing better at covering that up than a lot of others. You know, she's keeping it through. I think she got in a new rhythm here, and then the timer was out, so I think she had a bit of a lull, you know, here trying to do stuff, and then she met a different aesthetic here, which was really good. So yeah, okay. So I didn't realize that we actually have already seen a ton of Jam Republic stuff. I know we saw 2 of Audrey's battles. We saw Ling already. We already saw, I think, all of Kirsten's we'd already seen, I feel, right? So, but all in all, I think they held their own in most of their battles, unfortunately. We all know this though, and I feel like Ling knows this too. Ling did not hold her own in her battle. I feel like she was the weakest out of everybody, but also when you look at the opponents that they had, I think I've reacted to most, if not all of the opponents at this point, whether it's through their individual battles or through their groups, whenever I've gone through them. I do feel that they did hold their own very well, but they do have obvious weaknesses whenever you see them more than once. I think that's my big thing, my big kicker here. I'm excited to see them I've already watched them in the K-pop. I've already seen them in their crew preview. I honestly feel like Jam Republic, we're going to see the true Jam Republic when Mega Crew comes around, because Jam Republic, Kirsten, you know, and I know Ling was affiliated with Royal Family too. I don't know if Emma was, you know, I don't know if the other girls, but I know with Kirsten and Ling for sure. Royal Family, if you don't know, I really would want you to look this up. Royal Family is one of the main reasons why Mega Crew is as popular as it is. You know, like not outside of like Vibe and Battle Rock and all that, but like in the competitive world global scale, they are one of the key players in when you think Mega Crew. A lot of times Royal Family is brought up because of just their impact they've made in their choreography circuits that they have been in, or in their competition circuits too. So I think out of all the crews, Jam Republic's got the most advantage going into the Mega Crew, for my personal opinion. But we will see as the time goes on. I think it's going to be great. We're not even there yet. We still got a couple more challenges to get through. So I will reserve my feedback from that until then. But yeah, this was pretty good. I enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful in some way. I really like watching these battles and getting to just kind of see the crews as a whole, kind of see their strengths and weaknesses as a crew, not just as individual dancers. And I really hope to not only experience their weaknesses, but also have an opportunity to see their strengths grow and flourish, and see some of their weaknesses convert over into strengths as well. So yeah, let's go. I mean, I will see you guys later in another video. It's been awesome, and I'm excited for the discussions. Bye guys.